Then and now, we got the crown when we rock the town. Hot sound, keep us breaking ground while we chillin' lounge. 3 generations, black nerd soldiers, podcast snipers trying to pop culture. Allegedly, haters try to talk, but a pedigree in rare form.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am your co-host, Captain Diesel. I'm joined with Lelouch V, Professor E, King of the Comics, and...
You're listening to the Then and Now podcast.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning back in for another great episode. We are here to talk about a lot of dope stuff, and it's going to be a special episode, y'all. I know every episode's special to us, but this is us returning to discuss a series that I think it was the first series that we ever gave a 10 out of 10 on this platform, on this channel. One that we've been looking forward to for years now, and we had fun watching up until this point. But before we get into that, we're going to start with one of our, our softball questions that was proposed by our illustrious co-host Lelouch V. Guys, we want to talk about the best animation of 2024.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot on the docket for that. From movies to anime to animated series like this one that we're talking about right now, but a few that we've covered already. What I want to ask my co-hosts, if you had to pick 3, what are your favorite 3 animated projects from the year 2024?
For me, pretty easy off top. I think Arcane is number 1. I'm not gonna lie. I know it's later in the year and it's fresh, so maybe there's some recency bias there, but they did some cool stuff. They always do interesting, different things in their animation, like having like charcoal drawings. As part of the art this year that looked amazing to me. So that's going to be my number 1 personally. And my thoughts on this, I'm kind of just going off of the art style, because we can talk about like the show and the plot and all that other good stuff. But if I'm just looking at like the art of things that I enjoyed, I'm probably going to throw in X-Men 97 as well. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. And then thirdly would probably be Solo Leveling, would be like my third one. In regards to another animation that I really enjoyed looking at. It looked beautiful to me.
That's a strong list. That's the thing too. Otis, are you talking about as far as animated that you appreciate the animation, where the animation itself is good, or the overall show is good?
So for me, my picks are going to be for the show. But I mean, if you want to harp in on the animation and what stood out to you, Brody, it's your 3.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I got you there. So for me then, as far as just pure beautiful shows, I mean, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. I got one. You might not agree with it at all. So I'm gonna go. Obviously, X-Men 97 is up there because it somehow found a way to hit the nostalgia barriers, but also bring a new flavor to it. I'm gonna say that Don to Don. I think it's Don. Because it actually does a blend of using different styles and different palettes together. I've only seen a little bit of the manga, but what it seems, I think it's one of those things where it actually elevates the manga, like as so few do. Like JJK does that as well. Of course, Demon Slayer did that too. But actually, it elevates what was actually on the written page. And my third one is actually this season's One Piece. I don't really watch One Piece that much, but I do like
fan leader.
That fan leader was really cool too. But I like to watch the actual like clips from the fight scenes. And the thing is, the fight. I mean, the show is almost. It's just too long to watch every episode. It's pointless. But if you get a chance, just go on YouTube and hit up the highlights as far as the fight scenes. There's one between Lucci and Luffy. There's their second main bout, where it's Gear 5 versus with their Woken fruits essentially. And it's like that as a show. That's not even the actual movie. It is like just an episode of the series. I think it's episode 1100 or something like that. It's like that is bonkers
on that episode. The animation is so crispy.
It's all kinds of crispy. It's like a KFC. So it's.
I'll be happy when they do get that show, the Dragon Ball Z Kai treatment, where they do like
it's coming.
Revamp
They're
it.
doing it already. Yeah.
Just cut out all the fluff and just give me the main story, so I can get to it.
Yeah, it should be about maybe a quarter as long, I'm guessing. So I would say those 3, as far as pure animation flexes, those series or those shows have done it this season for me.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid list. To try to avoid what my co-hosts have already covered, I'm gonna add Invincible season 2. I thought that the second half of that was pretty strong. Definitely high up on my list. I'm going to add Transformers 1 to that, because I still think that's one of the best content pieces to be made this year, notably. Not just in animation, but I mean, as an animation, it does stand out amongst those as well. And then that third, I mean, Blue Eye Samurai, man. I'm sorry, like
Was that 2024?
That is.
Yeah, it was really early because it was 2020. It was that versus X-Men '97 for the
animation of the year.
Right?
Yeah. And I mean,
I feel like forever ago now. Damn.
I know.
Was
that was 2023. I'm looking at right now. It's October 27th of last year. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know it felt like a year ago at least.
Oh, it was a year ago. Okay, then then I'll switch it. Go back to anime. Then I'm gonna add Shangri-La Frontier to that.
That's when I can get on board with that.
Yeah, that second season has been pretty darn dope so far. The Sunrock was hyper relatable if you are a character that likes to, intentionally try difficult games. I mean, that's kind of a thing here. If you're like, FromSoft game player or any of the FromSoft clones, because there's so many of them at this point.
Yeah,
even Stellar Blade is a FromSoft clone, but
is it? I don't believe so.
I don't think it's about the parry game in Stellar Blade, but Black Myth Wukong obviously is meant to be Black Myth is a FromSoft clone.
Yeah, I mean, Sunraku, great character, interesting concept to make a video game or a series about a video game that is necessarily kind of lighthearted. Actually, feel like it has stakes. I give credit to the writing team for that, and also just beautiful animation. Tier.
I don't know. Good choices. No, I think so. I mean, I know I'm not trying to step on your toes here, Otis, at all. But do y'all have in mind as far as what you think would be the next big anime series? I'm not doing the whole big three, that nonsense. But as far as a series that'll probably kind of dominate.
Sakamoto Days.
Yeah, that's the one I've heard most about coming up from all the people that read manga.
It does have a lot of content too. I'm hoping it will, even though it's kind of similar to. It seems like it become more closer to One Punch Man, where it's like one OP, badass main character that can't really be touched with incredible fight scenes. But I wonder how. Like for example, Dan it has lots of the battles or the encounters last multiple episodes. Because I've only read the first 20 issues of Sakamoto Days. It doesn't seem like he has the encounters are that long. They're pretty much he's so OP. He's pretty quick every time.
They'll flow through that first season. It's when they finally do get to the second season that where it's going to really take off. But I think the brand of comedy that show brings, along with the action and the diverse characters, I think that's going to get a lot of people's attention. Another one I think that's going to do well when go sorry.
Oh no, plus they're going to expand a lot of those fights out, like for example, with Invincible when he killed the Guardians of the Globe in the comic, that's like a 1 page, but in the show it was like a 5-minute fight that they put together. And before when I think I was going to give my pick would probably be something I've also heard a lot about being Kagurabachi. It's probably another one I've heard a lot about. It's swords. It'll be like really similar to like Demon Slayer. I'm assuming in regards to some of the fights. Maybe I haven't read the manga yet, but I've heard a lot of good. I've seen the hype about it. Essentially, it's been a lot of hype about it.
Yeah, had nonstop hype the day before it even came out. Like the panels, it's like, oh my gosh, it's John Wick meets Demon Slayer.
And one to throw one that is coming up, but not necessarily as big on the radar. But I think it's still going to be successful because it has some of the same animation team as it had some of the same artistic team as Solo Leveling. Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. It's an upcoming manga series getting translated over to anime that I think is going to be stellar. I won't put any spoilers out, but if you're a reader and you're looking for something to pick up, it's definitely worth it. It's in color, great writing, and some great fights there too.
Yeah, you've dropped a bit of knowledge about that before. I meant to. I have a lot of time this week, so I'm going to go ahead and check that one out too. Okay, I'm on board for that. I have reading Kagurabachi. I'm not caught up on Kagurabachi, but yeah, it'll probably be. I think it was the creator of Naruto who said pretty much this would be the next big thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was him. It'll probably take off. As far as trying to appeal to the mass appeal, I was surprised at how much Don has already done that. I'm sure y'all have seen.
It has the sauce, man. It has the sauce.
No, I love it. It's my favorite thing out there now.
Is okay, but this anime is fire, right? Like, just going off, like when I read the first portion of it ahead of time, I was like, this is solid. Like, this is something that will be enjoyable.
Mhm.
I think they'll have moments that they'll hit, but the way they've expanded upon those, I mean, they did take a little bit out with the backstory of the ghost that we got in a few episodes back, but
Really, the one that was making everyone cry on the internet. They
yeah,
took stuff out.
they had to.
It was.
I
It seemed
see
a little
what
bit
you
more
mean, as far
brutal.
as, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It
I mean,
was still
no.
brutal enough with what they
Right.
kept in. It worked.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But no, I think they've done a excellent job of elevating that series. This is something that I wish they would have done for fucking Chainsaw Man, because Mappa, what did you do
yeah,
there?
we're not gonna bash Chainsaw Man. I still like it. I mean, you're talking about expanding on fight scenes. Chainsaw Man did that too. So
Yeah.
I guess.
but anyways, what I want to say, one thing I want to say real quick too is that before we bash any more Chainsaw Man, is that it is a weird, because you gotta think about it too. None of the actual, very very rarely do the manga kin who are involved with their books, are they involved with the animated series. Sometimes they are, but very rarely. It's bizarre how well a studio can adapt a black and white image on the page. It's I know Oda's been involved with his series. I know, of course, Toriyama's involved with Daima, but it's impressive when they can do that kind of stuff and get it, make it work, make it sing. Kaiju number 8, I know that's kind of getting a little bit of the fan base behind it too. It doesn't have that many issues of the manga left, but it's doing what it can. So it's I'm just thinking about overall the state
rest
of
that animated too.
yeah. I'm just thinking about overall where the state of anime. I'm excited about it, as far as at least for Shonen Jump, where they're saying we need to kind of the whole idea of having a lot of One Pieces with a series that lasts forever, thousand and so issues. Maybe have more new artists coming in, more new blood coming in with new ideas, and let them get their shot. It's amazing. Y'all know this. I talk about at length, but I have several. I have 90 students now, and most of them are graphic novel writers, of course. And seeing what they come up with, the ideas they come up with, the characters they create, it's like there is nothing. There are nonstop ideas out there. There are constantly ideas out there. If you're worried about having enough creativity, don't worry about that. There's nonstop creativity out there. I promise you that much. I promise.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I'm noticing too. With a lot of the popular anime that are coming out more recently now, one thing in particular in regards not just the animation, because like to your point, the animation is becoming a little bit more updated. Not the animation per se, I mean like the art style and stuff like that. It seems a little bit more current, but the culture that they're depicting in a lot of these shows too seems to be a lot more like modern. Like when I'm looking at the streetwear that they're wearing, like even this the way they wear their clothes and something like Don the Don, or I'm looking at like again going to Kaiju number 8, like the culture seems a lot more modern on like how people interact today versus if I'm looking at a show from like let's say the 90s or 2000s, it feels a lot more like that time period of like how the world was maybe or so. Like I've seen a lot more implementation of like technology and phones or culture, like even just the high school students in general. A lot of these shows now seem like, oh, I could imagine that being a high school now versus a high school 10 years ago and how
I mean,
operated.
There are several anime out from this year that are centered around YouTubing, like Viral Hit, VTuber, Demon Lord 2099. Like,
yeah.
Modern culture is definitely infiltrating more of the media, which I'm okay with. I feel like the media that we consume should reflect a portion of life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no way around it. You almost had to have your head in the sand and kind of ignore what's actually happening in the world and not put it in your stories in some capacity. Yeah, you said having cell phones so used.
I feel like that's really effective in regards to like getting new fans into it. I think that's been a part of the reason why it's been so popular lately, just due to the factor of these shows are a lot more relatable to a younger audience, because shonen in general are kind of made for that 10, 11, maybe 13-year-old range, like those preteens that maybe late teenage or early teenagers. So now that you're making the content a lot more relatable to them, you're getting so many more young people. Like I feel like the anime fans that I'm meeting now, especially in like from college to going back to my hometown, are younger and younger. Like it's kids at like 6 years old watching anime that I would not like. It's not just Dragon Ball. It's like things that you wouldn't expect them to watch, and they're watching it younger and younger because they're finding something they like about it, something relatable to it.
It's bizarre how I've talked about this several times already, but it always blows me away how much anime or anime culture, like manga and things of that nature, cosplaying, has permeated pop culture in general. Not just a blurred community, but just like, again, I'm at a high school. I'm at 2 high schools primarily, such in the middle school. Everyone there knows anime and manga. When I show my clips and everything in class, when I teach from, I don't really teach from Western comics as much. I primarily teach from anime and manga. That's what they're there for, essentially. They want to learn how to draw, how to make their own manga stories, primarily. And it's like I get it. I'm here for it. But also the characters they gravitate toward aren't the typical. I'm a good hero. I'm a bad guy. It's very much like the kind of the nuanced gray anti-hero type of characters or anti-villains you see primarily in traditional manga, whether they be shonen, seinen, or what's the word y'all for the female version of shonen, the one that the
shoujo.
Shoujo, the young girls, teenage girls read. Yeah. So I mean, that's what seems to be the storytelling that's most attractive to young writers, young creators, young artists.
Yeah, it's honestly one thing I'm noticing too in that same regard is like the way they're even depicting relationships seems a lot more realistic, like romantically or otherwise. I feel like back in the day with something like maybe Naruto or Dragon Ball, it was maybe this like generalized idea of what a romantic relationship is, and they were like together, but you didn't really get a lot of input. Like Chi-Chi and Goku, yeah, they're married together because she had a crush on him, and he was like, cool. But you don't have a lot of details on like why they even care for each other. Versus in Arcane, I'm watching a weird dynamic between Powder and Echo now in like the more later episodes of the show. And I'm like, okay, it makes sense why they vibe together, and we get a lot of that unspoken information in regards to why they're together, or at least in that particular version of the characters. I'm just noticing that a lot more. It's just a lot more literal depiction and not as much like ideals and generalizations.
Right. It's actual chemistry versus Naruto marrying his stalker.
Yeah. With the time skip. It's like, this has happened. They did also in DBZ. They did in Naruto. It's like oh yeah, I guess this person likes me. Let's just time skip to them being together. It's like let's actually show them coming together.
We got more information as to like how that happened in like the movie in the last when they go save her on the moon, and they really gave you a lot of exposition and backstory on like why that worked. But like for the early parts of the show, or even when you skip to Boruto, they don't really address it, and it's kind of a
No. It's one of those. I mean, obviously going back to Dan again. I keep on talking about that same show, but they did. That's the whole basis of that show is very much Momo and Okarun's. The how also especially at the idea of because they're in high school. I think they're meant to be like a freshman or sophomore, or whatever, first year or second years. When you're that young in high school, you really don't know how to deal with emotions or feelings. There's a whole part in the episode where he's like, where someone says to him, "Hey man, Momo's pretty cute. Are you dating her?" He's like, "She is cute." I even think about that. I even know what cute even was. It's like they actually have to deal with the whole idea of what that really means. Getting into feelings, how feelings actually feel. You mentioned Arcane. Arcane's really big on that thing as far as identifying who you actually are and what that is. It's a lot of. I mean, I'm so glad that shows, manga, I guess as well, or what have you, or comics are trying to deal with that kind of stuff, because that wasn't a big issue or big thing or big topic at all back in the day, and it very much is something now. And I hope it does help young readers or viewers get a hand on it.
When it's too good, it makes me cringe.
I think that kind of comes from the fact that like a lot of the older generation didn't actually like each other, and they just married each other because they were supposed to do that. That's
didn't like it. Yeah. Also those things where we don't talk about our emotions. That was a big thing too. You never talk about your emotions at all. Just period. You just don't do it. Yeah.
And y'all niggas really killed it for us, man. That's crazy.
I apologize. I've apologized 12 times this week to y'all.
Oh man. Yeah, man. But that being said, are there any other, I guess, bigger animated movies or series you guys want to kind of discuss before we get into the main topic?
I mean,
one other thing is just I'm sorry, go ahead, Otis. Yeah.
It's like we'd be remiss didn't mention 1,000-Year Blood War. I mean, from Bleach.
Oh, that animation has been beautiful.
I do agree.
Oh
animation
my god!
Yeah, it's very crisp.
I don't know how to describe that style. I'm not an artist historian, so maybe there's artists before that's used that particular type of style. But like the way they're going in that show now, it's like I don't know how to describe it.
It's just swaggy, bro. It's just swaggy.
It's like literally got aura, bro.
It's just like it's like
well, that was the original ethos with Bleach. Was like, look at all this drip. Don't worry about the story. Don't worry about it. Just look at the drip. So it's kind of like
different though. I don't. I feel like it wasn't at this level early in the show.
No, I know. Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about 2000s animation versus 2024 animation.
Right. True. Was the art like this in the manga? Because I didn't read the manga, so I wasn't sure if it was the same way in the manga.
Swaggy. Like the art panels in the manga, like of them dressed in non like canon clothes, just on screen, Super drip.
I mean, versus like the difference of the show early on versus in this arc now in regards to the
the art hasn't changed much.
Okay,
I mean, it's improved, but like the style of it, yeah,
because it's anachronistic. Because you showed me something before, Otis, a while ago. We talking about how different it was during the whole massive break they took, or whether I was okay. It looks pretty much very similar, but the whole point is it doesn't really age because it's not meant to be modern in a sense. Yeah. What's I bring up real quick is also Blue Lock season 2. I know there's been lots of controversy about Blue Lock season 2 because of the way. There's been so much controversy over the idea that it's not really animation as much as it's almost like a motion
slideshow.
It's a
with video game cutscenes slipped in for animation. That's what they did.
The 7 Deadly Sins treatment.
Yeah, they are disrespecting the sports goat. Okay,
because they had to rush.
Is it still the Spurs score now?
They rushed it, and also, it's still going. And this season,
bad. It's just you can tell nothing's animated really.
This season is mediocre, but this arc in the manga is godly. This is what made me call it Goat Lock.
That's the thing. The story is really, really good still. Seeing what they're doing, the under 20s versus the Blue Lock is like, this is actually really engaging. But the animation, it's no animation though. Yeah, very little animation. There is some. Let's not be honest. There is some. But anyway,
the best, like the steals of this still look amazing. Like, the actual art that comes from the manga and whoever their colorist is pristine. It looks, when it's not in motion, it looks fantastic. But as soon as they start trying to do a move, I'm like, get that off screen. It's Berserk 2016 level bad.
Easy, friend. Let's not say words we can't take back out loud. Nothing is that bad under the sun. I've been alive for a long time. But it's a little disheartening. It's a little disheartening to watch that. I'm still watching it every week. I'm not leaving anywhere. Also, if we are talking about crispy animation, I know Otis isn't the biggest fan of this series, but Dragon Ball Daima is very crispy.
It is crispy.
It's very crispy too. So we got to respect or appreciate what the animation. And no, it's a really, really horrible industry for animators in the world of in the Far East doing this type of stuff, and we're so sorry you had to go through such intense working conditions. But we thank you for what you're doing. So thank you very much for making our entertainment so great. We wish things were better for you.
All right, absolutely. Because the lead animator for Blue Lock before he quit should not have been trying to animate 5 episodes a day.
That's what I heard by himself. I was like, what?
That's just true? That's unacceptable.
Do you understand how much work that is? That's
bro. Yeah. After doing research for my Isekai video and seeing like how like just a singular cut, how long that takes versus like the 250 that you have in an episode is insane. I don't know how you get that good as an artist.
50 cuts. Yeah.
That was for JJK, I think, if I remember right. For the
do you know how much? Because it's 22 minutes. 250 cuts in 22 minutes is ridiculous.
All right.
Well, is JJK was that this year or last year? JJK
this was at least the research that I did. That was for season 2, I think.
Oh, no, I believe you, but I'm saying was JJK season 2? Did it come out 2024 or 2023? It's 2023.
Oh, I think 2023, right?
Okay, but that's obvious. You can't neglect that. But that's what we talking about. What are we talking about?
Mahito's Goat Run. I mean, that was last year.
Or even the Blu-ray version where they actually had it updated the stuff. That was like the real version of stuff. Yeah.
But guys, quarters in order. We are here to discuss and give judgment on a spectacular show, an amazing show, a show by the name of Arcane. So this show, again, like I said before, for people that are new to the podcast or have not heard us discuss this show before, it's probably like one of our first big videos that we've ever dropped in general on the YouTube channel. And we gussed over this show. We give this show a 10 out of 10, each and every one of us. And that's high testament and high praise from the factor of we each have usually pretty different, distinct values on why we enjoy a show. We have like general similar things we agree on, but for the most part, what makes us enjoy a show is usually pretty different. And we're usually kind of off in regards to how we rate things. But for a show like this to come out and for us all to agree that the first season was perfect, we had to be anticipating a second season. That being said, my brothers, how did y'all feel overall a general overview before we get into the details about Arcane season 2?
I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. A lot of the same things that we saw in the first season. They had those same strengths this season. I can't say this one is flawless like the first one was, but it's still pretty damn good. Pretty damn good.
I pretty much have to echo, no pun intended, Charlie. I have to echo what Otis said there.
Still the best character.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, shout out to Clutch. We'll get to that later on. But it is incredibly. Again, they put on full display how to flex with animation, and as far as also character writing, dialogue, all those things are there. It is not flawless. It is not. The first season is still the GOAT, but it is a very, very well made show. It does have some shortcomings that we will address. We'll get into it, but overall, I enjoy watching it very much. I'm looking forward to discussing it. Yeah,
I guess I'm the oddball out here. I think this show, at least for me, picked up exactly where the first season left off. At least for me, I can't say it's better than the first season. I have to go back and kind of rewatch it to refresh my memory on it. But this show to me is as good as the first season to me. But yeah, we can get into it. What are your main gripes with the show? Let's get into the negatives first, because we have a lot of positives, obviously, with a show like this.
For me, the biggest negative is I guess the pacing. I think that they try to jam some really, really big concepts into this without a full setup for it.
Mm-hmm.
We got a bit of it. They explained exactly what happened with Jace's character, with him being exported to the future. We understood a bit of how Victor was connecting with everyone that he was connecting with, but we didn't get a deep enough explanation of that for my liking personally.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Ambessa and her daughter. The relation to the Arcane. I don't think that they fleshed that out enough. I think we got a explanation, but it still could have been more. Honestly, I guess they probably could have added 2 or 3 more episodes to really, really dig into the weeds of this. So I guess that's the big gripe, that we did it a little bit more. Just a little bit more, knowing that this is the end.
I'm guessing y'all know that the show was originally intended to be 5 seasons, and I think what ended up happening was, because from what I heard, it cost $250 million for this one season, right? I believe it's for this one season, not for both seasons combined. And then also, it took 6 years for them to make the first season, and then even with those assets they had, it took another 3 years to make the second season. So time-wise, they're like, look, we can't. This is too much time for us to make these. So they said, let's make it just. They realized that and said, let's just condense it down into one season. And given those conditions, it was still really well done. But there's certain things like, wait a minute, this is pretty much, you are setting up amazing things almost in every episode, and there's only a little bit of time to pay them off. So, for example, you set up an incredible dark, almost like an Anakin story with Caitlyn, and that kind of dissipates in a way where it's like, wait, what happened? Why is she no longer why did she decide to turn against? I mean, oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Spoilers. Woo! Spoilers. If y'all haven't seen season 2 or season 1 of Arcane, I apologize. We're gonna get into spoilers here. We probably had to make a notification about that. But it didn't really. I'm not saying that it wasn't entertaining what they did with Caitlyn's story, but it was bizarrely kind of rushed. You can tell it felt rushed. Also, you see the dark arc with Vi, where Vi falls into the pit as far as getting into being a cage fighter and literally dyes her hair black, and that lasts part of an episode, and that's kind of goes away. It's like things are Otis mentioned, of course, the things with Victor and Chase. Things are set up and are paid off very fast because they clearly only have one season to get a lot of material taken care of. That being said, I was very pleased with the arc, essentially with Isha. For those who know, Isha was the little mute kid that was around Jinx. She came in.
I cry. I'm adding this to my list of things. No, just in general. I think I've talked about it in the show before, where I've only ever shed a single tear at something One was Marley and Me. I think the second one was Forrest Gump, and the third one recently was the Guardians 3 movie. This is number 4. This episode with her, that little episode 6, with Aisha got me. I ain't gonna lie, that got me.
Yeah, Aisha was a great character. Yeah, she's a great. I mean, also I would just say the second act of this season, episode 4, 5, and 6 are amazing. Those 3 episodes in a bottle. So, these are great because you don't have to worry about pacing. It's like these are just great episodes. The line, of course, where she says, "Get over here, he's your father too," where Isha does the little finger sign, and there's a lot of incredible moments just in that. Even just seeing Victor talk to Chase, I guess in the astral plane, and him seeing him in Sky again for the first time in how long. It's a lot of incredible moments. They're truly incredible moments. It's like wow, I was floored by them. So again, I was still very pleased with this season. And in all fairness, too, for Otis and I, and for you too, Charlie, that bar was set way up here. That first season was like we all agree, like masterpiece. We called it better than Castlevania. It's like there's no how do you equal that? Is the bar is way too high almost. So it's like if this had been any other show, blown away. But because of course it's Arcane, it's like the bar is it's very, very hard to meet.
Yeah, if you have if you reach your peak, it's hard to get to that. No, you get. I think people get a little desensitized to it once you see somebody's best. It's like, okay, if they're not doing that every time, and then even then, if they do that every time, now you've seen it already, so the surprise and the awe there isn't there. Yeah, you're not gonna have that same level of enjoyment that you will the first time around. Mm-hmm. But do you guys? So give me some. Do you guys have any pre-information in regards to future of the shows? I know obviously they're not going to be done with like League of Legends and shows around this, but I think this is the end for this set of cast, right? This city.
Yeah, I mean, Arcane is done. Like they're not making a season 3, but yeah, they are doing spinoffs of some of the characters. What's the timeline for those coming out? Mm-hmm. I don't think that they've been mentioned yet. Yeah. But I mean, the splash that this series has made, the amount of attention that it brought from the mainstream to League of Legends. I mean, financially, it wouldn't even make sense to not do it. But you do have to figure out a way to do it at not 250 M's per season.
I'm trying to figure out where that was that like what about the animation made that $250 million?
Well, I mean, so this way. I'm sorry, go ahead, Otis.
I was saying like they had multiple animation teams to do it. Like each of those episodes is like literally movie quality.
Right.
And you have to do that 9 times. So getting to that, it's not going to cost you cheap. The voice cast is not going to be cheap either. They didn't have like stars. They did not have Trumps on there. All around, like there was a lot of effort put into this series, and the more effort you put in, the more it's going to cost you.
They did get an original Imagine Dragon song too for this.
Paid. I mean, every moment they paid them for their tracks, it's like they're getting the royalties.
I was curious they were gonna.
The track list for this was crazy good. Okay, the music. Oh my god!
Yeah, it's bringing it all over the place, and they had to pay for
that too. Exactly.
That probably could have been like 25% to 50% of it alone was getting copyright cleared for all the music you used.
I can't imagine. One other thing too is you got to remember the quality we're seeing. It's amazing quality in animation, yes, but when it comes to the world of anime in the East, it's imagine they're actually paying the animators in the West or also in France who made this team, the animation team, they're actually paying them properly. The reason that the animes are made without $250 million price tags is because they don't pay them anything. If they actually pay them properly, they'd be much, much higher price tags as well. But because they don't pay them shit, that's why we're able to do it. Because they actually are properly paying the animation teams and developers and everything. That's why it costs that much more.
Right. It's tough. I definitely agree with a lot of the similar sentiments you guys had in regards to the pacing for this season. I kind of had the same sentiments in the first season as well, though, in regards to it felt like they set up a main plot line, like a main story between the Jinx and Vi storyline they had, and then they had the 2 additional subplots with the witch stuff going on with Mel's mother and her, and then they had the Arcane stuff going on with Jace and the Doctor and Echo. So I'm like, you have 3 simultaneous storylines going on, but you only have like 10 episodes to kind of wean those out, and then each of those episodes are only like 30 to 40 minutes. So I'm like, okay, how are we gonna get through 3 big. Honestly, like each of these storylines could have been a main storyline. Like this could have been.
I know
each
that's
of those could have been
that's the
a
point.
season in
Very
itself.
easily.
That's the point. Yeah,
Because when they would do like a cut away from, like the whole episode, I think it was episode 7 where we got to see Echo in a different dimension. Essentially, I'm like, damn, bro, this could have been its own season. This was like I like see that development. I wasn't mad that we got taken away from the main continuity because I'm like, damn, this is amazing. This is a really in depth thing that we're doing here. But yeah, I don't know, because we talked about this most recently with Agatha in regards to studios and creators making the best out of the constraints put on them by the powers that be, whether that be through funding, deadlines, whatever it may be. I think this still did a good job personally. Not that I'm going to completely overlook those things, but I do give them a little bit of credence just based off of things that are outside of their control in regards to people that worked on the show.
So I want, and that's one thing too, Charlie. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what was in and out of their control. I'm pretty sure that Netflix gave them the whole HBO treatment with Game of Thrones, as far as like they're like, look, y'all can take as long as you want with this series, and the people that are involved with the show with Arcane said no, we only want to do 2 seasons. It wasn't them pulling the cord. It wasn't Netflix. It was Arcane people behind them, Riot Games and FST Studios.
But that's what I'm saying in regards to the people that worked on the show versus the people that like own like the owners of the IP and whatever it may be. Like, because I'm pretty sure, again, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure before they even start working on the show, you get greenlit for a certain amount of episodes. Like, you're going to have this many episodes due this season.
Yeah, per season usually, yeah, but they're not sure how many seasons they're going to get anymore. But yeah, typically that's how it is. And we should probably do some more research too. But because like I said, it blew up. It blew up to a degree that it was like they couldn't have possibly imagined. There's no one saw this coming. Because I mean, obviously, yeah, what's called League of Legends is the big game, of course. But adapting video games, especially in 2020, when the first was 2021. I'm sorry, 2021, when the first one came out, people didn't give a shit about video game adaptations or movies or series. So it came out of nowhere and it blew up like what? So I don't know what they were originally intending or hoping for.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like in all the conventions I've been to this past year with Blurred and speaking to people that I've seen in Jinx or Vi cosplays like MomoCon, most people I've talked to don't really know much about the League of Legends game. They know about the show.
The show is mainstream. The game itself is a little bit more niche. It does very, very, very well to the point where like there are college courses built around League of Legends.
Right.
But like the game itself is still a little bit more closeted. There's a large community that attributes to it, but it's not mainstream media. Arcane is mainstream media.
Right. The people who play as far as competitive gamers, it is still the number one competitive game as far as they actually have the tournaments and things of that nature. It is still that. But that's not the same thing as like you said, Charlie, as far as permeating multiple cultures as far as like something to watch on your show. You know, it's very different.
Right. I feel like because if y'all had to pick, because I think one of our biggest gripes is the pacing for it, and we both agree that this could have served for more episodes being included in the season. Y'all feel like maybe like 20 to 22? Like, what's your episode range you feel like that would be perfect for this season to wrap everything up with a nice bow?
Go ahead, give me 20 plus. Go ahead.
20 plus.
Or just make it. I honestly would have been fine if they just give another season. If they just made it season 3.
Yeah.
Probably could have figured it all out. Probably could have gotten it straight. I'm pretty sure they could have done that.
Because I feel like they got into a good groove this season and like getting the speed up in regards to how fast they were addressing each storyline. I feel like by like episode like 7, 8, maybe like 6 to an extent too, we started to get to at least some of the meat and potatoes in regards to why certain things were a certain way, like seeing what Mel's, I guess, ancestry was looking like and all that stuff. And then they kind of brought Vander in out of nowhere. That kind of happened pretty fast. I'm not gonna lie to you. Maybe I missed breadcrumbs to that from the first season on, but that was like, okay, he's back in the Wolfman now. Okay, that's something.
No, that came out of nowhere.
They did show it. They did show the big wolf with Warwick. His name Warwick. They did show him in the first season, but you didn't really know what was going to happen with him. Yeah, they alluded to it, but it still him being that ever present in the second season was a bit different.
But yeah, that's in regard as far as that goes. I don't have any more negatives about the show that I can think of.
So here's the thing. Where it's weird. I was thinking about this, comparing it to Game of Thrones season 8 or 7. So what's the last season?
The last one was 8.
8. It's the execution.
The
what
last
they
one was
did.
6, but we're not going to go there. That's a whole other.
No, yeah,
Don't get him started.
But it's the execution. Like every time any of the characters in this show were on, they were themselves. There was no character assassination. The dialogue was crispy. The fight scenes were amazing. Everything was still on fire. It's like, so it wasn't a matter of like, in a way, it's almost like they left you wanting more. It's so you were never like, oh, this ice cream doesn't taste good. It's like, no, everything tastes good still. It's just maybe a little bit too smaller portion in a way. So that's I guess that's why you can still be very satisfied with what that you had. You don't feel like, oh my gosh, I wish this doesn't make sense. There's all these plot holes. Like, no, they still all make sense, even more so than you may have thought they would have. But it's just a little bit small. That's all.
Yeah. Literally at this, my only gripe is they didn't give us more, really, at the end of the day. The pacing comes from the fact that, they could have used more episodes. I can't really, like, because the first season is so good, essentially we have to nitpick at this to, like, really speak on it negatively. Mm-hmm. But the positives are mountainous.
Yeah, there's all the
like
we can have some positives. I'm up for some positives.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a single bad character. I don't think there was a bad character arc. I don't think that there was anyone that felt useless to the story. Like even the girlfriend of I can't remember her
What's
name.
her name? The little chick, that little side piece that's a
her name. Man, she was the holdover till Vi got her head straight.
Yeah, but she was also a spy. But
yeah. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she is not a throwaway character.
That's the point. Yeah, she was doing her job. She was doing her job. Even characters that weren't as big in the first season came back. Like Singe, the guy that I can't remember his name, the guy who basically made Shimmer. He actually played a much bigger role. He had a bit of a Mr. Freeze syndrome with him and his daughter, so to speak. He had a much bigger role. Even characters who barely spoke. The bearded man, the guy who looks like Mink in my comic book. Remember that cat? That's more or less like just the lieutenant or the Zorro to Mbosa. He played a role in it too. So it's bizarre to see like characters that would have been tertiary or unimportant. All of them do serve a function within these 9 episodes. No one is a throwaway. Everyone matters, which is, again, they are still doing the job right. It's pretty much like you say. I said, Otis, you only have an hour to do 2 hours worth of work. You still get the job done. It's just that it's not like you are. It just looks a little different,
I wanna just to kind of switch gears a little bit. I want to get on the writing for this. To the 13 people that had involvements in writing some of the stuff. Again, Ash Brandon, being a prevalent guy that worked on both seasons. Henry G.M. Jones, Christina Felsky, Amanda Overton, Gianna Sark. Again, it's 13 people. I could go down the whole list, but I want to really dive into something that I thought was interesting in regards to how well these writers understood people. And when I say that, it seems a lot more simplistic than maybe that I'm divulging. But I feel like we get into certain shows where a character will go, and I've talked about it before with comics a lot too, where with the X-Men. So if you look at the Chris Claremont run of the X-Men, right, there would be a big event that would happen, and he would spend 15, maybe 20 issues really giving almost like a slice of life episode of a manga, but of an anime. But he's really just getting in detail on how all these characters were affected by the major events that they just went through. And I feel like there's a lot of shows in movies where maybe they'll skip over this and we'll see a final product of how that person's changed and whatnot. But this show really, like, every episode was showing the development of these characters. Jinx, to me, like, first and foremost, just showing like the villain arc she ended on in the first season and how she kind of, I won't say went full hero by the end of this season, but she came back to the other. She balanced out a lot in the season by having influences of like you said, Alicia. Is it Alicia or Alicia? I can't remember the girl's name.
Isha. Isha. Isha.
Like her being introduced and her getting to be the big sister that she never had, I guess, for most of her life. That was dope. And in the way they would talk about it, I think in particular, there's the one episode that really stands out to me. I think it is episode 6 where Jinx is sitting there and kind of like musing to herself. And she says that ever since you've come into my life, it's like I've had on glasses, but I'm not sure if I'm seeing more clearly or if my vision is blurry. and it's just a subtle metaphor, but it so accurately describes what a new person or a new influence can do in regards to changing your perspective on life. And
Yeah,
stuff like
absolutely.
that just really stood out to me this season in regards to a lot of the characters and the way the writing was shown in the dialogue.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more with what you're saying. And I would say that writing characters or dialogue or personalities, making them true, is the hardest part, in my opinion. It's the single hardest part of storytelling. Anyone can write plot A, B, C happens. Even a story in of itself can be compelling, but what makes the story work is the characters within it. Quentin Tarantino has made a fortune off of not
Mm-hmm.
amazing plots. Who cares about his plots? They don't even matter most of the time. It's the characters he has within them and what they're saying. And obviously, Arcane is Arcane is amazing at it. I mean, there are. I mean, I'm not sure how many characters there are in the actual main cast or what have you, but no two characters sound alike. You can pretty much read two lines. I mean, out of complete context, I have two lines written on a piece of paper, and you can tell which character said them based purely off of the tone and how this. You know the characters so well. Caitlin, people give Caitlin a hard time. Caitlin doesn't talk like anybody else in the show. Victor, my boy, probably my favorite character. His way he talks is wow. It's like it makes sense that he'd be basically a god the way he talks already. And I love that kind of stuff. You mentioned also the PTSD that many characters have, Vi and Jinx especially. It's very true to form. There's a part in episode 7, right, where Echo is describing Vi to Jinx, and Jinx is like, "Oh my gosh, she's so strong and powerful." And Echo's like, "No, she was always afraid. She was always afraid of losing something, always afraid of something happening."
Yeah, flipped.
And
Flipped.
no, because Echo makes a big old painting of Vi.
Yeah.
And he brings Jinx to it. And Jinx says that this version of Jinx is like, "Wow, my gosh, she seems so powerful and strong." And he says, "No, she was always strong. She's always afraid," because he knew her. He knew the other version of her in that timeline. And it's like, yeah, it's like that makes perfect sense as far as like, yeah, if you are always afraid of losing everybody, of course you're gonna be a fighter. Of course you people at distance. Of course you're gonna be. And then you see Vi doing that too. You see Vi crying all the time. You see her a mess. We won't get too heavy into this, but I know we've heard a whole bunch of the backlash with the whole Mary Sue issues lately with storytelling. She was never a Mary Sue because she had so many different layers to her. She had multidimensional. And I love that about her. So yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said, Dev. It is very much to have true characters that are multi-layered and three-dimensional, that are compelling, that are interesting, is very, very difficult. And this show did it. I honestly can't. Can you all think of a single series that has this many compelling characters that are so different and varied that are all so nuanced and so well done? I can't.
Animated wise, or we talk, or just like in general?
Anything. Because imagine the cast, how full it is, where all these characters are so well done.
Maybe, I mean, it's really recent because it's recent in my brain. Maybe like the Penguin, maybe, but even then,
it's much smaller cast.
Yeah. There's a lot of characters in this that they get that treatment. It's tough. There's not that many. That I can think of that have that.
I mean,
that many
aesthetically, I would say Bleach, but like in personality and like just general diversity and motivation, I can't really think of anything that's this in depth with me. Like everyone felt like an individual person. It wasn't like, oh, this group believes this. Like, no, everyone had their own individual motivation for why they participated in this series in whatever capacity that they did.
Yeah, and shout out to Savika. Y'all know Savika, the one-armed or the woman.
I loved her.
Seeing her, of course, she's
her
great. If you go back and watch
great.
season 1, the beginning of season 1, where you see like she's very much in favor of Zahn. Not that she pretty much teams up with Silco because he seems like he's trying to get something done, where Vander is pretty much just sitting around. Savika is very much like, I am still trying to get things to happen, and I'm so glad at the end she joins the council. You could do an incredible story just on Savika, everything she goes through. So it's, again, there is no small character. Isha, around for 6 episodes, became a huge fan thing. I 100% guarantee you will see some cosplay of Isha. I 100% guarantee you that.
She was great. And didn't say a word, literally.
Didn't say a word.
Cried actual tears, bro. Like, when I heard the music played, I was like, oh no. I see you run. I'm like, oh no. Stop her. When that explosion hit, boy, I felt that it was hot in my face. I was like, oh my God, I'm emotional over this character. And I've never heard her speak, and she's only been around for a few episodes. It's crazy. Yeah. Maybe I'm just an emotional dude at this point. I don't know, but that got to me.
No, I mean, that's what I'll be honest. I'm sorry, Charlie, but as you get older, you get more and more emotional. It happens. I cry more than I ever did in my life. But what's weird though is episode 5, right, where it shows a quick flashback. It's only 2 minutes, a 2-minute scene, 2-minute scene showing Vi and Jinx's mom. I can't remember her name actually. I just even tell her name. Their mom. That little scene there is so well written. You get the entire vibe of their relationship. It's a master class in like how to write just a character scene with a conversation, a brief conversation between the three of them, and it works perfectly. It's like it's insane how well done these things are. It's like so fast too.
But there is not a wasted moment in this entire series, first season and second season, but emphasize on the second season, like to have gotten all this information to us, these huge concepts, and it's not convoluted. It is brief, but it's not convoluted. Like that's hard to execute, right?
Nigga,
like,
they have time travel in here to get convoluted.
Time travel in this
like,
show.
they have 3 people go to 3 different points in time, and it didn't get confusing. Like it didn't like, oh, like wait, that can't happen because you went there. No, it worked.
Not only it worked well. It didn't just work. It worked well. It worked bizarrely. It's like how they. I'm almost jealous. I'm almost mad. Like how dare you upstage me on every front. Also, even with Mel too. Because Mel, we all liked Mel in the first season, but we were like overwhelmingly blown away by her. She was cool and all, but it was so cool to see her flex. The fight scene between her mom, Ambassa, Mel, and then Kaylin. I was like, this is a master class in how you do. It's like the Raid 2 or something. It's like this is. I loved it, and then seeing her have an arc as far as her truly coming to embrace what she actually was. It made sense as far as how they survived. Her and Chase survived because she actually has a power in her. It all worked bizarrely well. And Ambassa is an incredible character. I would say her flex as far as her like a massive crazy warrior. She's not crazy. She's just a very powerful, very driven woman, and it's like that's such a well done character. You could do an entire series just on Ambassa. Really, you should.
And just like even like the stuff that is like borderline tropey, like the turn for Echo to now be back in the good graces of have a positive reception of Jinx. Usually you see that in medium, like so like you had this whole fight to the death on this bridge, and now y'all just cool. It's cool, but like no, yeah, like they have a family history. He went to this other universe and saw what she would have been like if things had gone different, and like a genuine connection was built there, and he brought that over and like changed her life. When he came back to the world, like
he saved it. I think it was 4 times I counted. He saved her life. Also, there's one other thing too. I piggybacking off of that. When we went back we went to the other dimension. He saw Silco and Vander. And he's like, you guys try to kill each other. And Silco says, or Vander says something to the effect of, as long as you were trying, as long as you work effort to it, you can work things out more or less. You can forgive and forget, so to speak. And and clearly that hits Echo, and Echo's like, okay, I can try to forgive Jinx for all this stuff that's happened. And it goes back and sees her. It's so well. I mean, also I love that Echo became because if y'all remember the episode 7 in season 1 was called The Boy Savior. He's called that, or episode 6. Which has in one of the episodes. His episode is called The Boy Savior. He actually becomes the Boy Savior. Him actually what he does with the time. It's crazy.
This would have been a major ill if it was not for that boy Echo. That's easy.
I ain't gonna lie. Now the sappy dude to me. I need a spinoff of like Powder and Echo now in that world. I need to see that love story in that world because I never really put them together in like a romance in particular after seeing the first. I know they had like a history in the first season with their like iconic fight scene on that bridge. They kind of grew up with kids, but seeing that I'm like, oh, that does work because she is kind of a genius. Like she's an engineering genius, so that works there. And I'm like, damn, I want to see more of that.
Supposedly the lore was Little Man, they called him. Little Man had a crush on Powder. So when they were kids, he had a crush on her. That's what they were trying to say before.
Got you.
Season 1. Which is
like,
also why he didn't punch her when he had her did the rights and he didn't place like I still had feelings for this little kid.
There are so many moments like that though, where it's like you show me like a scenario or a character relationship. I'm like, I want to see a whole season about that. I want to see more of that. But yeah, the last thing I want to get on to, and then if you guys have anything else you want to speak on about the show, we can get on to that. But I want to speak on the art in particular for it. And when I say that about the art in conjunction with the music as well, it just kind of plays hand in hand. There was a couple stints in the show where they would have this almost music video moment. We saw one with like Vi, we saw one with the funeral of Caitlin's mother, and they would just do so many different experimental things with the art in these particular scenes. And the music, I feel like sometimes the music will match up to what you were seeing in the art, and sometimes it would just be where they match the animation up by the syncopation of the music itself or the tone. I think the most famous one is the scene of the funeral where it's entirely like made in charcoal art, which
Great art, yeah.
I'd only ever seen like charcoal art done on like different videos on YouTube where people are playing around making certain art. I think I've seen one that famously was it was a Wednesday Addams painting where this guy did half traditional coloring pencils that you would see, and then he did the other half of it in charcoal. And I'm like, oh, this looks kind of cold. It's different, and I haven't seen it very much, but it looks really good. So when I've seen that entire sequence done like that, I'm like, okay, they're experimenting with different things, and it's working. Like I know I'm gushing on it, I'm kind of glazing it, but this show does a great job of like trying new things, but also being very conventional at the same time. It's weird. It's a weird balance to have.
Yeah, because I know the main studio Pastiche. I know I'm mispronouncing.
Friche, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. Yes. It's a French studio.
Yeah.
But it has obviously it's an international. They have people that work there. But they do push. If you see the work these people do, they've done a lot of stuff. They've experimented with things too. So it's not outside the realm of understanding what they can do. Also, you got to consider too, since season 1 and season 2 has come out, they've been so many innovations in the world of animation. You brought Blue Eye Samurai, of course, Across the Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. So many things have happened where it's like okay, you can push things further, and the audience will come along with you for it. So I guess they're like, you know what, let's just have fun. I would give a shout out to the astral plane, that realm that we saw Victor in. That too that was a leap. Nothing like that was around in season 1.
What kind of Last Airbender shit is this?
Right. Yeah. It did look very much like Last Airbender. Actually, it did look very much like Last Airbender. So it's I feel like they're saying if audiences are willing to go along with us, we've been holding back. I feel like animators in general. That's why anime is so appealing to us in general, because anime, they're like, we can get weird as shit and people like it. And the Western audiences pretty much have. Western studios are afraid to push the envelope that much, but Eastern studios are not, and they're doing more and more stuff. And Arcane is one to be like, you know what, we can be a go-between and try things out, try to be, like you said, Charlie, have some conventional things in what we're doing, but also push some things at other times too.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it aesthetically, it just looked like they were given no limitations on the art. And that's not something that you get to see often. I mean, usually it's like, okay, this is the art style, stick to this. If you deviate from it, the audience is going to be upset with it. I mean, we see that in, classic moments of Naruto where the animation switches and everyone kind of gripes over it. But I mean, in this, they run loose, play around with colors, and it made it artistic experience, not just a general anime series or animated series, right? Like, you can watch this on mute and still find beauty in it. Yeah. Easily. And I can't really say that about too many animated anything, right? Like, I mean, you Across the Spider-Verse, I can say that about, because I feel like they also kind of experimented with a lot of this as well there. But here, this is a masterpiece aesthetically.
But again, at the same time, it's weird. I agree with what y'all are saying. It's like but the story didn't suffer because of the experimentation. It wasn't substance. I'm sorry, it wasn't Flash over substance. It was Flash and substance both elevating each other. If that makes sense. What I'm saying.
Speaking
one last thing I'll say before we
go ahead. Yeah. So
one last thing I was going to say was I love how you got to tie the whole story back together. Was how when Victor was a child, when Chase was a child, he met a man in the snow with his mom, and that man happened to be Victor, who happened to kind of in a way set all of this in motion, because we saw the alternate reality as far as a world without Hex Tech, how different it would have been when Echo was there with Jinx, that whole story essentially. And essentially it's showing where Victor's trying to see if Chase can fix the world fix a timeline by experimenting with it. Because I'm pretty sure Hextech wouldn't have existed if Victor hadn't essentially gone back in time and given Chase that little item, essentially. So it's interesting just to kind of think about all this kind of wrapped around. Because it all came back to Victor and Chase in the end, and seeing how it all started with them too when he was a kid.
Also, that hammer is nasty. Just adding that there.
Speaking of Across the Spider-Verse, this is something I thought about too. Does Echo remind you guys a lot of Miles?
Yeah,
in his arc?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, because he just like he kind of sounds like Shamik more a little bit. At least in my opinion, like I was like,
more grown version,
yeah. I was like, damn, this Echo is just Miles. I'm like, okay, I can see people gravitating towards this character really heavily.
That's why he's the best character.
Yeah, he's a big fan.
I admit my bias.
He has the exact same haircut that Miles has in the second game too.
Right. So I guess we can end on a fun note here as far as the show topic, or at least reviewing the show. Favorite characters. I mean, we all said it like a million times, but you can go ahead and say it again for the people that didn't hear you.
Yeah, Echo was dope. I mean, I love Vi. I love Jinx. Jace surprised me in this because I couldn't stand him in the first season, but I think he was pretty dope. Like the beard worked for him. I give him his credit. But
also, I'm sorry.
Yeah, overall, Echo, I mean, the relatability, the visible growth, and then, like, literally, like, being able to, like, I just invented time control, and I'm just going to sacrifice it to make sure we can save our friends. So, I mean, I don't know, just a lot of great moments for him. I thoroughly enjoyed this character by then.
You got to appreciate the fact that he knowingly gives up a perfect world. Like he saw his father figure. He cried basically when he gave him the biggest hug and saw his father figure. He had he had a girlfriend, a very happy girlfriend. So he had a nearly perfect life. He saw Milo and Tiger. Tiger's all beast mode, pretty much like Terrell up there. And he's like, I'm going to have to give up this perfect life to go back to a world which is plagued with war and everything else and
better than
nonsense.
He better than me. I would have stayed. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I'll be honest. I don't know that I would have left either. I don't know. And also, worst case scenario, he invented time machine. He invented time travel. It's like I can save a time travel with my girl. I can do whatever I want to do. So yeah, Echo's a G. Top 10. He's definitely a G. For me, and we all have a huge soft spot for Vi and Jinx, so it's probably safe to not use them as our first choices. Also, you mentioned Chase. I think why Chase was a better character this season, along with Caitlyn, is because it showed them going through real adversity. In the first season, they seem very much they're from Piltover. They're cream of the crop. They're not really having to suffer or struggle. You see Chase. I'm not sure how long he was there. I'm not sure how long he was. It's clearly he was there long enough to grow a full beard. It wasn't quick. He broke his leg. It was a mess. He was a mess of a person. Also, he saw his best friend say, "By the way, go back in time and kill me." It's like it's a lot. So he came back. It was a very different Chase. It was Chase 2.0. So I agree with you, Otis. He was a very different character. But for me, I would have to say it's Victor. If I'm not going with Vi, I would say it's Victor because Victor is I can relate. Y'all know I can relate to him for personal reasons as far as with him being disabled, but also the idea that he a good character, a good villain doesn't see themselves as a villain if you write them properly. He never saw himself as the villain. He always saw himself as trying to help all those around him. And if things had gone differently, if Victor hadn't sent Chase back Terminator style to kill him off, I don't know that he would have needed to be stopped. If you look at his commune, things were fine. People were doing all right. So it's a whole weird way things were set in motion. Every single line Victor says, I want put on a bumper sticker and to have it somewhere. His girl is dope. Also, Sky was great. I love Victor. He's my kind of character. Y'all know that about me. So it's I'm Victor.
I'm gonna sound really simplistic, but it's Jinx for me. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, her fight scenes alone. I think to me at least, she had my favorite fight scenes. The gunslinger thing, I already know how I feel about that, but she would even have like little quirky things with her animation, like her eyes. I love like the little eye animation of her dodging, and she having like her eyes are glowing, but it leaves like a after image trail almost. But that's one thing. But her character arc and she just sometimes had the most compelling dialogue to me, to where, and I mentioned the one about the glasses line with Isha, but she just felt incredibly relatable to me from a mental health aspect of like the first season. They obviously like showed it to where she was breaking down into like a full psychosis almost, and like literally over the edge. And to see her kind of come back from that and seeing the world from a different perspective, and she felt very human to me in the show. in regards to getting different people or experiences put into her life, and that changed her perspective. And I really hung on a lot of the words that she had to say throughout the series. I love that
100%.
character. I love her design. I love everything about this character. The intelligence there. And man, I hope we get a spinoff with her in the future at some point, or maybe we get to see that alternate universe. I don't know. I would love to see her come back to more stuff.
Well, hey, but we gotta tell you something. We got bad news for
Yeah,
you.
I know it'd be like it'd be an alternate timeline and stuff like that. But hopefully,
Because well, I mean, in all fairness, we do not see her die. The NERD,
Right.
of course, when it comes to comics, no one ever really dies.
But I
you don't see
mean,
it happen. But
she did pull a grenade after
she
falling down.
pulled a grenade out.
hole.
She was falling. She was being mauled by Vander. A lot of things are happening. If she survived all that, it's like, well, I mean, Darth Maul got cut in half, but we'll see. But yeah, I completely understand that. You mentioned her design,
She's great.
also, Dev. The thing is, have you all seen her original design? She had, of course, from the games. It was much more Harley Quinn as far as like half and half. And they said we can't have her just be a Harley Quinn clone for the because again, they've officially said Riot Games said this is not canon with our actual world. The Arcane, the show, and the games are not canon. They're not part of the same universe in a way. So she's meant to be, her design is meant to be much more of a person dealing with an identity crisis as opposed to a person who's like Harley Quinn who's just embracing chaos, which I love about her.
it's
And
really
I love the
like
idea too that
it's really like simplistic but also unique. Remember the one episode where the girl was like, "You're not Jinx. Like, why would you wear chopped like ate up carnival pants?" And she was like, "Carnival pants."
Getting on her drip, I was like, it's. I love the idea too that she becomes a symbol so quick when she's not even trying to be one, and then when she shows up, like, yeah, her. It's like you see.
I thought I had that shit on for real. I thought I was.
It works, man, and I agree. Her like blue lock effect with her eyes is really cool. I like the idea that because she ingested so much the glimmer essentially, or from when she was dunked in the water by Silco, she's able to kind of actually kind of jitter around real fast. It reminded me a lot of, have y'all seen Wreck-It Ralph, especially the first Wreck-It Ralph movie?
Yeah,
with the
Victoria, I think
Princess Penelope.
Penelope? Oh yeah, I said Victoria.
Princess
Jesus
Penelope.
Christ.
Or I think it's Penelope. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But she had the same thing where she had basically a glitch which made her kind of go real fast. You see Jinx do that too. There's a part where she's fighting that bearded guy to save Caitlyn basically, and she's able to
definitely has super speed. Like
yeah, it's not human. That's super speed. It's enhanced. So it was really fun to watch her fight. And also, I love watching her fight. It's completely different than watching Vi fight. Vi is very much I'm a rock. I'm a tank in this, and that one's very much to be much more of a ranger.
Like how Vi, like Vi didn't expect her to be as fast as she was. There's the moment where they're in the tunnel and she's like, "Bitch, I dare you to hit me. I will fuck you up." And as she's talking, you get slapped. Like she just like, "Bitch, shut up."
Yeah,
like,
she's I'll beat you up in 1 second. It's like, and then while she keeps on talking, then of course she's
like, "Shut the fuck up, shut your ass up." Oh man,
it's again. There's no we are not knocking the writing. The writing is all still like top notch. There's no
crazy
shortcomings in the writting.
Yeah, man. Hey, fanboys, fangirls, I need y'all. I need the love for certain characters to go hard so they make another one. Let's let Hollywood. These are the times where we let Hollywood know, hey, these are the things we enjoy. Give us more of these things, and we'll give you our money and our time and our attention. If you produce content like this, I will give you all my money.
Well, that's what's weird too, because this was the weird, kind of catch-22. Because this wasn't a theatrical release movie, we couldn't go to a theater to give it money that way to say, hey, this has made us $1 billion, therefore we want more sequels. It was a series on Netflix, which you can see, but we're not spending more money to have it. I mean, I'm sure Netflix sees the numbers, but we're not spending more money, so they're not like getting it that way.
I think it's just the subscriptions.
Put that merch out.
Yeah, the merchandise.
Give me Echo on a shirt.
And I think don't they also get like residual money from it being licensed out to other like properties? Like I know Valorant has Arcane skins in there. There are Arcane skins in like Call of Duty right now.
They have to. Yeah, they have to. That's their IP. You can't.
Yeah,
you don't get this away for free. Never. Yeah, but also it is League of Legends too, so it's Riot Games.
Yeah, I don't know what that breakdown looks like in regards to ownership money from residual stuff between Riot and then Netflix with the show. Because they're two different because I guess this show it's not a different IP, but it's its own thing, I guess, because it's not canon as well.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how that works.
It's interesting. It's weird. I know some people that played League before. I think Otis, you played League, or you played a little bit of League in the past.
I've played it before. I was never deep into the lore. MOBAs movies I'm more recently getting into heavily.
Okay.
Yeah.
From talking to some of the people who actually played the game or fans of the game before the series even came out, they were kind of like using those characters. They were like really. They're okay. They're what they call them champions. I guess they're fine champions or whatever. And it was always kind of implied that Caitlyn and Vi had a thing, but you never see them doing anything. They're always like working together, but you never see them actually doing anything as far as romantically.
Mm-hmm.
So people were like, all right, whatever. They were. So I know I'm sure it blew away all actual people who knew the game beforehand. It was no one could see it coming like this.
I went down my rabbit hole and was like, oh, I want to learn all about this lore in this world now. I went and like looked at the video and seen that this had nothing to do with the show. I'm like, I'll probably come back to this at some point. Probably not. I'll stick to the show. I'll go watch the show again. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a real quick question. I know you guys got to do your things. You're all very handsome people. What was your single favorite fight scene? If you had to break down a fight scene that you think is the best one for whatever reason. I know Otis, you of course are Echo, but
yeah, I mean, for me, the best fight scene goes to Jinx in that jail.
Yeah. Jinx in jail, and
man.
then with as well as when Vandal, yeah. Oh my God, is it Vandal? I'm blanking on his name.
Well, Vandal's Savage, but Vander is his name.
Vander, I keep calling him Vandal.
Yeah,
yeah. When he appeared, like for the first time as
Vander.
that wolf, and they had that quick altercation, and she was like, well, she didn't win the fight, but she was doing some slick shit where I'm like, oh, she made like for real light bro up. Yeah. Yeah. That's probably my favorite sequence. If not that, then the fight that she had with Vi in the not the tombs or the catacomb, whatever that area was underneath the pill tower or pill over.
Like aqueducts, basically.
Yeah.
A fight I actually liked a lot too was an episode. It was the second episode of the season, which was a girl Savika versus Catmandu. I have no idea what that guy's name is.
Catmandu.
It was very much like it was kind of a callback to season 1 as far as the flair and style, as far as her getting her new arm, how it worked. It reminded me of y'all know Kite from Hunter x Hunter. The way as far as the way his weapon worked, it was kind of, or his nano worked with his weapon. It reminded me of that when every time she pulled the ripcord on her arm, as far as what was it going to pull off, and she didn't even know. It was the first time using it, so it was fun to watch that fight scene. I like that fight scene a lot. It was very creative and lots of fun. I mean, they're all were good, but that was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Charlie had the same one. So to add a third one there, Caitlyn and Ness versus Bessa at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's perfect. It was perfect.
That was pretty damn good too. And
Bessa is such a beast.
Bessa ain't she is not to be trifled with, boy.
She is such a beast.
She was great.
She felt like what I imagined Angela Bassett's character in Black Panther being like in her prime, like a physical prime. Like she had that energy about her, that royalty and that like that presence, that auntie presence where you have it where like, yeah, I'm not to be fucked with. You will treat me with respect. Or I will punch your teeth down your throat.
Because she was able to do. She was highly intelligent. She was clearly very tough, but also she had a strong. She had a bizarre agility to her as well. Like she could manage to get like throw a spear at you before you had a chance to fire off your gun. So it's a weird combination that all worked very, very well for that character. Like she should have her own, like she should be a big boss in several games or series or what have you.
Yeah, I love that.
Give her another content piece. Like if I get the history of her getting up to that, I would watch that.
That's what we need. I think the next all y'all need to do now is, bro, just give us backstories on all these characters. Give us the origin stories of all these characters up until that point. And I'm cool. Like, just go down the line and you got like 6-7 seasons there of like shows you can just milk. And if as long as they're good quality, bro, I do not care.
It's something, man. It's also one little, I forgot, I didn't notice it until the second time I watched it. The hallmark or the callback, I'm sorry, come on, say hallmark. The callback at the beginning of the ring fight, the cage matches that Vi is having. She got her first match with the guy that has like that kind of a steel jaw. Yeah. That was a guy from the first season. So it's weird to see her knock him out. It's like, oh yeah, he was around. I forgot about that.
He punched his jaws clean off.
Yeah, like not his jaw, actually off his face. But
I mean, we know Vi's hands are legit though.
Our hands are certified, registered lethal weapons.
Yeah.
It's
great, man.
Let's go ahead and let's get to the moment of the hour. Let's go ahead and rate this show.
If I had,
go ahead. Oh shit, I'm gonna go ahead and repeat. For me, I'm giving the show a 10 for me again. It's 10 for me again. It had some minor issues to me, but again, I briefly mentioned them, and I think a lot of what it does positively kind of washes that out for me in particular. Um, yeah, this show's a perfect season to me. I don't think it's better than the first, well, maybe because some of the like specific music stuff and some of the moments of characters that I really like to see, I may put it better personally, but I don't think it's just a better quality season all in all. But it's still the same level of quality to me that the first one had.
Fair. I think it's really, really good. I can't give it a perfect 10. I say like maybe a 9.5. Just because I mean the little bit of pacing issues. I don't think there's a fight in this second season that's as good as Echo versus Jinx in the first season. Not saying that the fights are bad in any way.
No, I agree.
Like,
I agree.
But
interesting.
Yeah, just so good. Like, I mean, is this still the best series on Netflix? Yes. Like, It's not even a question. But I can't give it that perfect nod this time.
You know what's funny? You mentioned that too. It's on Netflix season. Netflix is oftentimes have really good first seasons of shows, and then the second season, the sophomore slump essentially, or just not quite as good. This didn't hit a sophomore slump. It's still a very good sophomore season. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much I echo everything. No pun, Charlie. Everything that Otis said. It's incredibly good. It's an incredibly good season. I'm gonna give it a 9.5 as well because it does. It's just I can tell that they had to cut some things down because of the time frame they're working with, but it doesn't mean that the quality isn't still there. It's like this is fucking incredible. I mean, what are we talking about? This is unbelievable stuff. If you showed me even like 5 seconds of this to my 20-year-old brain, I'd be like, what? I cream my pants so fast. So it's fantastic stuff. I love every inch of it. I really, really do. It's just that it's not quite. It does show some earmarks of having to meddle with a little of the pacing because of time, and because of that, I can't quite give it perfect. I give it almost perfect, but not quite perfect. So 9.5.
All right, y'all. So you know what that means? We rounding up to 10. Show the perfect 10 out of 10. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean,
shout out to Arcane season 2.
I mean,
it's
great. Oh yeah, I high recommend. I'm gonna show this when I go home for family for the holidays. Show everybody.
And this leads me perfectly into my game to end off the show. It's my this or that. Ooh. So for you guys, if you could immediately have a follow-up season of Arcane or The Penguin, which one are y'all taking and why?
Now, this follow-up season for Arcane, this set of characters or a new?
This would be like a continuation, or that's or it's one of the flashbacks that we talked about.
Just continued content.
Right.
Oh man. Yeah, you might have to go first in this one, bro.
That's good. I made you go first.
I mean, I can go first. I mean, I usually the game host doesn't participate in these games, but I'll take it. I'm going to take Arcane high diff because if my only gripe from it is that there's not more of it, like,
I may have to agree. Because I know like the only thing with the Penguin thing is like there are some characters introduced that I've heard rumors about like the doctor friend of Sophia being like being the Scarecrow and stuff like that. Where I'm like, ooh, maybe we can.
That dude's the Scarecrow.
Because apparently in his office he had like a big like gloved hand in the background or like a mask that I didn't even like pay attention to initially. So they're saying they're gonna make him the Scarecrow. Yeah, but even that being said, if I get to see more of these characters, because I'm definitely the type to where I can get emotionally attached to certain characters if I see them in certain moments. So like I definitely like Jinx, Echo. I would love to see more of them in a spinoff. I'll probably pick Arcane.
Yeah. Not saying that I wouldn't. I'm not going to watch the next season of Penguin.
No, we're watching. We're watching.
That.
That's on the table. That's off the table. That's way off the table.
Part of that is for the fact that we waited 3 years for this new season. So I'm like, I don't want to wait like 4 years for something else in this world.
That's crazy. We've been doing the show that long that we had to. It's the 3 years later. It's you know what? It's funny because we haven't done spoilers for both these shows. both iconic characters die in them. So if you had my boy Victor in the Penguin still, I would love to see him, what he becomes later on. But he's gone now. It is cool, like you said before, the way they're alluding to more things. They're alluding to a possible Scarecrow with that doctor. Also, the idea that they are half sisters. Sophia and Selena are half sisters. I would love. Can you imagine?
Them two on the screen may break my
team
TV.
up?
I ain't gonna lie, my TV may overheat with both of them on the screen. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Your TV, your body. But so I mean, it's like it just, yeah. It just, I mean, I would love to see Sophia and Selena team up to do to wreak all kinds of havoc, and to maybe, they start having a banner for justice for Vic. Maybe they have, so maybe that would push me towards it, because in a way, even though I would love to see more content from Arcane, it did kind of conclude things. Chasing Victor's story is over. Vi is more or less happy with Kaylin. Let them be in peace. Jinx went out a hero. Echo is doing what he can to build his own community. It's kind of, the characters have had they have their peace now. But I would love to see I would love to see the revenge path of Sophia and Selena in Penguin.
Fair enough. Has Zoe Carter's that check then? Shoot. Y'all.
Yeah.
Did you have any more, or did you just want to?
Nope. That was the one. I wanted to give it.
It's a tough one.
We had 2 back-to-back, high tier shows like this.
We did.
Man. And
let's acknowledge that. Let's be grateful. I mean, we actually had 2 series that bizarrely had a lot of hype coming around them. Had a lot of heat and managed to actually deliver. That's not just deliver, but exceed some expectations and actually meet. That's impressive these days. That's extremely impressive.
I was talking to some friends about this yesterday. 2024 has been an amazing year for not just me personally, but content in general, from music to anime to Western animation to movies. There's been amazing things that have come out this year. Some underrated and didn't get their just due in regards with Transformers 1, and some were highly expected and lived up to expectations with a Deadpool 3. Well, some people may be divided on that. I think it lived up to what it was supposed to be. And then Arcane as well.
It's the best of the 3 movies.
Daredevil 3. Not Daredevil 3. Deadpool 3. I'm sorry.
Okay, Deadpool. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I said Daredevil. Yeah.
I mean, there's Daredevil coming out again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which I think that's coming out before the end of the year too. So that may be on this list as well.
It is. That's right.
I thought that was next year. Is it this year?
It's either early next year or late this year. One of the two.
I want to say it's January next year.
It's not too far out from now. I know that.
I'll let y'all discuss that.
But yeah, this has been an amazing year for content all around for people. And it's a good time to be alive right now. Hopefully that is more indicative of what the future holds. Hopefully, we're gonna see. I'm not
There's a lot going on there, but
we're not gonna speak politically on here like that. But
it's we also got that Jake Paul Tyson fight.
That
doesn't exist in my mind. That doesn't exist in my mind.
Yeah, it didn't happen. But at least Mike Tyson got some money. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Mike got paid. Black man get paid.
Yeah, I mean they probably orchestrated the most viewed sporting event of the year. I don't even think they probably got more viewership than the Super Bowl. I have to double check.
I think they did for sure.
Well, so here, yeah, probably would. But here's the thing about it too. I know it was so high that it took away people going to see the movie. They were ticket sales at the movie theaters were down that Friday night, and they were up higher on Saturday. So clearly, people were
the site crashed.
Old age-old, crash. That age-old expression or age-old adage that Muhammad Ali said, but that people will pay a lot of money to watch somebody knock you out if you were hated. I guess Jake Paul or Mike Tyson.
And then also shout out to the creators, Kai, the Nat, dude. I think this past Thursday, his stream had more congruent viewers live than Thursday Night Football. He had 260,000 people watching his stream congruently.
What?
Yes, he's pulling off crazy numbers right now on his stream.
Oh, the dude, that one that's
he's in
that guy looks like a black Jinx basically.
Yeah, he's doing I am. Hey, yo, hold on, don't. Hey, the views of Professor E does not reflect the views of the Now podcast. Do not come through here. None of that stuff. But yeah, shout out to him, because that's in for a content creator to pull off more numbers on your platform than actual syndicated television of a sport that dominates America. That's amazing to me. Biggest the what?
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, y'all.
I do think that this platform, YouTube and the internet will more or less replace like public broadcast. So
we were already seeing it. Like most, like outside of, well, I'm not gonna get into the super details on that, but I know the NBA's in trouble. But yeah, y'all, this has been another episode of the Then and Now podcast. If you guys want to catch up with us on other platforms, y'all let them know where they can find you guys at.
Yeah, catch me on blurred.com. Got more content posted that way. And come join our group, Blurred Black Nerd group on Facebook. Come talk shit with us. Join us on Discord, the Blurred Gaming. We always got some good stuff in there. We just watched Gladiator 2 in there, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, come slide through. We got some fun stuff going on.
Do people still say slide into my DMs? Does that expression still exist?
It's still pretty current. It's still current.
I'm old. I'm so old. I heard my kids say ops. I was like, what is ops? OPS. What does ops mean?
God damn, you're old.
I am old.
You've been saying that since Chief Keef. That's like what, 2012?
Yes, this thing is old, bro.
You ask somebody in their 40s what ops means. Like, what? Just try. See what they say.
I mean, depending on the person, because some people are a little childish at 40.
Fair. Well, fair enough. Yeah, I think a grown ass man probably there's some slang you shouldn't know. There's something that you should not know.
I sent a lot of niggas screaming mustard the last 2 days.
Oh, that. You can catch me pretty much just at our website. It's our website. It's not the Blurred one. It's the Echelon. All of us are there. Charlie and I are going to put more merch and more stuff up there. We're trying to have a bigger revival for the site for the holidays. But also, we've been taking on more clients recently. Bizarrely enough, people want to get their stories made, which is great. I even show my kids, my class, some of the stories I've been requests I've gotten from clients, and they want to make some of the stuff themselves too. So if you are a person that has a story to tell, because everyone has a story to tell, please let me, Charlie, or Otis know, or anyone at Blurred know. We'll do everything in our power to make it a reality.
What about your stories?
The site's called Echelon.
Can we get an update on your stories? Because there are runs I've been waiting on for a minute. Lazy bastard. So we getting issue number 2 of Divine Influence, nigga. I've been waiting on that shit for like 4 years.
Unfortunately, the problem with Divine Influence is that's on me. That's on me because I had writer's block on that story. Otis's story, that one's in production because there's like a couple of versions. 5 more volumes of that.
Borderlands 2.
Yeah, he's a bunch of that. Episode number 3 is done. Screenplay number 2 is done. Divine Influence number 2, the script is halfway done. I'm gonna try to make my best to finish it up this break. It's just my brain. It's oh my god. But yeah, it's storytelling is an amazing thing. It's one of those things where you hate it while you're doing it, and you love once you finish it. So
I completely understand that. And guys, as far as mine, you guys know you can find me on Captain Diesel's Dojo. Content wise, I've been doing a lot of comic stuff as of late. I've covered a bunch of stuff with Absolute Comics. Going to continue to cover Black Lightning issue number 1. That video's going to come out very soon. And I also wanted to give love to a video. I think this video came
Black Lightning Absolute?
Not Absolute. It's just DC All In. He's getting his own. It's the follow up after Absolute Power, but it's pretty interesting. And it's really going to change. It's pretty much changing the landscape of what that universe looks like because Absolute Power, everybody got their abilities stolen, and then now people got them back, but some people got them altered. So there's some who were nerfed, some were buffed, and some got other people's powers. So Black Lightning and his daughters are kind of going through some stuff, and it's great to see again a Black family go through that tale. Like it's been great so far. I'm excited to see where it goes. And then lastly, I did a video for my people over at Midnight Comics. They have some dope indie stuff. Yeah. They sent me over the stuff to read. I checked it out. It took a lot longer than I thought it would for me to get the video made. Just life was lifing. But I'm glad I did it. Videos came out pretty good. They make some dope stuff over there. They have some really interesting characters. And again, they have a manga as well that they have out now. Y'all go check them out if you like their stuff. Know the captain sent you. Go to their website in the video, in the description. I think you get a free book if you sign up for their website. So you get a free book.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
You do. I think it's because I got mine. It was digital, but they're real good people. They reviewed some of my stuff actually. They're very generous with my reviews of my stuff. They're really nice people actually.
Yeah. So yeah, if y'all want to see more content like that or just more dope stuff in general, you guys can find it here on the Then and Now podcast or all of our respective platforms that we are also in collaboration on or working on individually. Y'all, this has been another episode of the Then and Now podcast. Let us know in the comment section below what you guys thought about Arcane or any of the other topics we discussed on this podcast. And also, as always, please subscribe, to the channel, like the video if you want to see channels like this get more love. That's how you get us out. Like the videos, please, first and foremost. And we'll see you guys next time. This has been Captain Diesel, Alus V, and Professor E, King of the Comics, and
You're listening to the Then and Now podcast.
we will see you guys next time.
DC has a 10 out of 10 on our list. Marvel doesn't yet. Where y'all at?